Hey Stamp friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamp with Rachel. I'm Rachel Kuhn and this is my Card Class Club kit video for the month of June. We're using the Inspiring Imperfections Bundle that is also actually part of a suite. Let me show you this in the catalog so you know where you can find these products. We are doing the, I might butcher it, but I'm going to practice, the Kintsugi Inspirations Bundle, which is this amazing set that has coordinating paper to the dies, an embossing folder called the Join Together 3D embossing folder, and then just great sayings. It's very Japanese inspired based off of that broken pottery that they use to make the pottery function after it's been broken and even more beautiful than before. So I love this suite and I'm excited to share these with you. These were designed by Lynda, who is my co-creator with all of my classes that we do. So let me show you each of the cards and we'll bring back the stamp set if you want to look to that again. But we have a thanks card. Thanks for helping me through this difficult time. We have this amazing fun fold that's pretty tricky. So we'll start with this one actually, so we can get it out of the way. But it's really fun because it goes and it slides to have our piece of paper come out that way. Super fun, and I can slide it back in. Then we have another thanks for helping me through this difficult time, but this one has a lot more details to it that we've done some die cutting and extra stamping. And then the 3 vases. It says, you inspire me. Super great techniques with all of these, and I can't wait to share each one with you. Feel free to comment below if you're watching, and when you do watch, let me know where you're from, if you have this bundle, if you didn't even notice this bundle, and things that you've loved about it as well. All right, let's get all the pieces that we need for what I consider the hardest one, but it is also the most beautiful. So this one's going to take us a hot minute, and the rest of them should come together pretty easily. This one will be your Misty Moonlight card base, and you'll have lots of pieces to it. But the main pieces you'll see will be the embossed 3 embossing of these guys here. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll cut them along the vine or the crack, and we'll separate it to create this really cool card front. Then I'm going to show you how to make the inside. Let me show you a little secret inside glance to where we're going to have it stand up and then having that sliding mechanism for our little note in the basic white. All right, let's start at the very beginning. Let's grab our gold foil. Now this one is a beautiful piece here. This gold foil only comes in 2 sheets. It's kind of pricey and we usually use it sparingly. So the fact that we're using this whole thing for this one just kind of shows you how amazing this card is. Let's do our stamping first, actually, because we only have 3 things to stamp, but I already did some pre-stamping. So the last thing I stamp is just on this cute little label here. And I love it because this is a die that came with the set. The dies in here, let me show you some of them. There's that cute little label one that has a little edging on both sides, but then straight tops and bottoms. You'll see our others that will die cut out the shapes, and I have the base with another one to show you that one as well. All right. This one we're going to grab the Lost Lagoon ink, and the same, there's is beauty in your history. You can always change that to any of the other sayings that will fit on this spot. You inspire me would, I'm here for you probably would. I know you'll get through this and you'll be stronger for it. It's probably better in the inside or even on that little piece of basic white, just because it is longer than our piece here. We'll get a Post-it note in here, so we'll do some practice stamping. It'll probably be good if I have it going the right way. Not too bad. Let's see if I can make it not be so juicy. And I'll just stamp it right in the middle. Stamp in place. Oh, that looks pretty good. All right, set that aside. We're done with that. And what I did do was stamp the pieces already. Let's see if I can find them. I used Memento ink because I used my stamping blends. But I stamped out the flower image and I heat embossed the vase on Petal pink. If you don't want to do any heat embossing, you can just use the GSP and die cut that out, and that will make that same similar image or look to it as well. Okay, set these ones aside. Let me grab this guy. Let's color him real fast. And you can choose what color of stamping blends you have. I just am using, let's see, the pretty light pretty peacock and the light old olive. And I'm using the nub side, which is the smaller tip, just to go around these leaves and the petals there. And the light pretty peacock. Just going over each one of these. And it's okay if you leave white space when you stamp with the blends. I kind of like it, in fact. I feel like it makes it a little bit more eye-catching than just being solidly colored in. And you can make up however you think this flower looks. If you think it has petals in the back of it, color in those spaces. It's totally up to you. Okay, there we go. It should be good for there, and we're moving on to our foil pieces. Now, since I've made one already, I have pieces already set out that I've fussy cut out. But the secret of this is that you can either follow along on the crack to cut it out, like so, or you can even flip it over if it's easier for you to see along this side and cut it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Kind of like that. I'll push pause on that one for a second, and let's get all of our pieces together. Use your embossing folder if you have, or look at your PDF if you are a card member, a club member, so that you know which pieces go where on our matching with our piece here. This one, it looks like I didn't, oh, I think these are the extras. I was going to say, I did not cut those out nicely. Okay, this one will go on the bottom, so I'm going to put it here for a minute just to make sure I know its place. And the tip for getting this where it needs to be is that when you put your embossing folder with your cardstock through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, just make sure you do it the same place each time. It's a little bit bigger than the actual piece of paper, so you use what we have here is a little line right here. You can use that to help line you up. What I did was I lined it up to the top here and to the far right edge, and that kept me going to where it needed to go. All right, so we have this piece here, and I gave you enough pieces of this so you can do exactly the same one on each card, or you can use the leftovers from one like I'm doing with this one to show you how you can use these other pieces and just in different colors. Okay. Like a puzzle piece here. We do want to place them first so we have an idea, and then we'll attach them. But before that, I have one other tip we're going to have you learn to help make these colors pop a little bit more. Ooh, it's looking cool. It's coming together. And I think this was the one that I was supposed to finish up. So we'll go ahead and finish cutting this one with you guys. So that way you can see. I knew I left one as a sample. So I did need to finish that one. All right, he's going to go down here on this far left side. And then the other one on this side. And watch, I'm going to flip it over and see what we think if it's easier or not. We'll do two different methods here. Cutting with our paper snips, turning the paper as we cut, and not turning the paper snips. That way it's not awkward to hold. You have complete control. Ooh, I do think that side was a little bit easier to see. And since we emboss this from a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, all of my measurements are on the PDF. If you aren't a club member, you can get those measurements when you send me an email and let me know. And then it's $10 for that PDF. Okay. So it's going to look something like this. But if you want that to pop up a little bit more, grab your sponge dauber, grab your white craft ink, and we're going to go over what's been embossed with it lightly. And it's very lightly. You could probably, if you don't have this, you can skip this step. This is just for extra details and texture. So I'm going over what's been embossed with that sponge dauber. And some of the colors, like this cloud cover, you can barely see it at all, but it's so pretty. When you get up close, it just adds a little detail. There's that one. And if I was smart, I would have done this step first on the whole big one, so it's just easier to hold. But we're going to do it after, for the sake of time. I didn't think you want me to be cutting that the whole time for this video. All right, this one's the fun one because it has a lot of raised pieces there. And this bottom one too, the Misty Moonlight, I think is the most fun one because it's so dark, so that pops really nicely. All right, let's go ahead and do some gluing then and assemble our card front. Now, I have to tell you, I am running completely out of my Tombow green glue. And so I'll try to use it, but I might have to use just whatever I have in stock. So I apologize for not using Stampin' Up! Products if I run out. I have 2 handy, but somehow did not order some in my last order. Okay, we're doing good so far. Maybe if I keep it upright. And then using that straight edge, we're just gonna line it on up so that it's flush on all sides. Okay. We can move these pieces kind of aside now that we know where they need to go. We'll grab this guy on the bottom. I feel a sneeze coming on, so I apologize if I sneeze mid-video. You see this one's running low. All right, let's see if we can get our next one back in. Our backup to our backup. No, I'm just getting air, so we're gonna go ahead with the non-Stampin' Up! Adhesive, so I apologize for that. And I would just use our Stampin' Sil Plus, but I think liquid glue is the best type of adhesive for this type of project, where we have things that have been embossed. All right, I'm sliding this one to the corner, and I'm gonna probably do a little bit of trimming on this side. I want to make sure I still have my gold shining through. So I wanna make sure that I'm creating those cool lines here. All right, let's go to the top and do this Misty Moonlight one. The great thing about liquid glue is also it's very forgiving. So if I place it down the first time and it didn't like where I put it, I can always shimmy it just a little bit right after. Okay, this guy, make sure I'm putting, there we go. Flat sides on this outside so I know which way to put the glue. And this guy, I'm gonna have him come down a little bit so he's not at the corner, meaning this one I lost the space of the gold because I had it too close to that corner. So I came down just a little bit on that one. And then this guy here, I'm doing all my outer edges first and then my middle. And you'll notice that the completely middle, it has a tiny little part, this guy right there, that we just didn't even add to it. We said that's not gonna be seen. Ooh, look at this, he shimmied. So I just need to pull him down. There we go. Creating some of these nice gold lines. Okay. And this guy here is going to fit in perfectly right here in the middle. Create those nice cracks. Okay, now we can grab some dimensionals and add our pieces here. For this guy, we did do a secret little slit. Let me see if we can get close enough so you can see. I just put my paper trimmer and I lined it up so that I didn't go all the way through. But there's a little slit in the top of this vase that then I can then stick my nicely stamped and colored flower into. Perfect, right? All right, let's grab some dimensionals. And I've misplaced, of course, my other dimensionals, I'll probably find them halfway through that we're done. So I'm just using minis, but I do recommend using the older ones. The bigger ones. And I'm going to place it on there to keep my flower with the vase. And I'll have to use at least 4 because these ones are the minis. Okay. Flip over There's Beauty in the History. This one we only want a dimensional on this left side. I'm going to flip it. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid glue on the end there. So that way it won't be raised too much. Oh, and I need dimensionals on our flower. I told you, I started with the hardest one first, so that way we have all the energy to do it. But it is most rewarding, so if you love fun folds, this one is definitely for you. Okay, remove the backings. We're going to cover up that gap that we're not showing right here, since we don't have that filler piece. And then we're going to remove the dimensional there and then just overlap a little bit on the bottom here and place it so it will dry. If you're worried about dry time, you can use a glue dot on the back of that side as well. We're going to set this aside, let it dry, and work on that fun mechanism we have going on here. All right, you will get 2 pieces of the Misty Moonlight. They're exact same measurements, but we've done some crazy things to them. So let me show you what we've done, and then we'll put it all together. Okay, this one, I went ahead and I used a pencil because this part's not going to be seen. And I marked the 3/4 line on all of them so that I could use my paper trimmer to cut 3 of the sides and score the one side here. We then need to make this to go into a up, down, up, down. The valley needs to be at the very end one here. So coming up and down, kind of like an accordion. Then we're going to attach our basic white to that very end piece here. And what I did was I went ahead and used some tear tape just on that center spot. And then we'll line it up with our basic white. Remove the backing. I use my paper snips to help me gather that because sometimes to separate the two, they don't want to be apart. Okay. And then just kind of eyeball it to get it as center as you can, but you definitely want that to be on the tip of it and to go straight through. That's looking pretty good there. Okay, a little crooked, but not too bad. Press down. Okay, then give it a test run, see if it's gonna, it's hard to see if it works until it's actually in the card, but if you go like this, you can kind of see how it's gonna fold in, so that way you could pull it out. And it should look like this when it's been pulled out. It's going to be tricky to pull it unless we can hold on to it. So we can grab our beautiful cloud cover ribbon and just cut off maybe 4 inches and we'll trim it. Maybe it's 3. Eyeball it, depending on how much you want. And then I'm just using a stapler to attach it. You can attach it many ways, but I think the stapler is definitely one of the easiest because it gets right where I want it. And you could measure it to see exactly where it can go in the center, but I'm content with it being like right there. And then I will trim the ribbon again. Nice. Cute, cute. Nice little tag. Then we're going to grab some tear tape and we're going to put it all along this Misty Moonlight except for the side where we have our little tab because we don't want to attach that to anything. We want this to be free flowing. So I'm going to put some tear tape on all 4 sides. Or you can use some Stampin' Still Plus. Tear tape's great because it's a stronger adhesive than some double-sided tape, and it's just really easy to place. The only tricky thing about tear tape is that you have to remove the backing. So if that's the only challenge, then I'll accept that for sure. Look how nice and easy it gets placed. And sometimes if I get it too long, I just take my paper snips and trim it for real. Okay, let's press this down, make sure it looks good. taking off the backings. See how easy that was with my paper snips? Man. We separate the two and then pull it off. This one I think is helpful to have a video for, because when you read the directions, you kind of get it on the PDF, but it's definitely easier to do it once you see it. All right, now we're gonna grab our card base and open it up. And I set it to the inside. So here's the front of our card base. We're gonna have that open up to the top here. I'm gonna face it so that the white is facing the front of it. We're gonna see the back side so we don't see the white when we place it down. And you're gonna go about 3/4 to maybe an inch from the bottom, right here. And just line it up so. Nice. Rub it down, make sure that tear tape is attaching nicely before we go ahead and do some moving. But we'll go ahead and pull that through, test run, and it works. Slides in, slides back out. Nice. Now, this part here is to help us with the bend. So, or to stand. And I did this one wrong. So I want to make sure that we do this one right. And I had it all right, except for when I put the adhesive on it. So we'll go through it the right way. So that this one, what happens with the wrong way is that you'll see this overage right here showing through when it's closed. The right way makes it so you can't see that. So that is our goal. Take your bone folder and start those folds. So this center one on the score is what we want to have going up. So that will be our guide. And then these ones are going to be our tabs to be glued to the inside of the card base. So I will put tear tape on both of these sides here. So we got a W for wow. And we'll put tear tape on this side and tear tape on that side. And that will allow it to stand and close nicely. Let's go ahead and do that. In fact, we're gonna skip that and go straight to Stampin' Still Plus. Get that started all the way across, nice. And then, ooh, that's the tricky part, there we go. And all the way across. Okay, let's see if we did it. I like to attach just one at a time, so I'm gonna go to this front side here, get it so we can see it, and put the score line flush with that edge. If you're worried about lining it up right, go ahead and use some liquid glue, but just know that you're going to have to allow some dry time. Okay, then we get this back piece here. Oh, nice. We'll press down, and we did it. Look, looks so much better than this guy. Small things, right? And that way he can stand up nicely. All we have to do now to this one is add our beautiful card front. Let's grab that liquid glue. You see in this one, I can actually take my paper snips where I went over and just trim it. Nice. Okay, let's see if I have enough of this guy left. Oh man. We'll flip it over and attach. And I think it was just easiest to attach just at the end, so that way our card base wasn't super bulky as we were trying to add all of those awesome fun parts to it. But there you go, look at that, so fun. Okay, took us a hot minute, but it was totally worth it. Let's go on to our next. According to our PDF, card number 2 is the 3 vases. Let's get that one back in view so you can see it. This one here, super easy, super cute. You need to cut out some DSP for this one and also do some die cutting and embossing with that joined together embossing folder. I do have my die here so I can kind of show you how this all works out. Let me show you all these pieces and my bonus pieces of vases. So with the DSP, it has a piece of it that has the shapes of the shapes of the vases, the flowers, and the cups. Watch, I'll flip it over and you'll see this other beautiful cloud cover on the other side, but we really wanted to use the vases, and that allowed us to have a lot of easy to make cards. The cool thing about this one is that you'll notice, looks like I'm a really bad die cutter, but I wasn't. We don't have any white space. So you'll see the color on here still. Let me get closer. You'll see that color around the pieces we cut on purpose because we didn't want any white space on the bases that we die cut out. It is so, so perfect. I love it. This one, however, I used just a piece of DSP for, and I wasn't a separate piece of DSP. So you'll notice that's a little different there on the back side. All right, let's go ahead and do our stamping and then we can assemble. Like I said, this one's the easier one. You can choose what ink to use. I use the Misty Moonlight for the You Inspire Me, but the Lost Lagoon would look great too. All right, Misty's in here. Oh my, no. I think I did forget. I forgot to add the embellishments here. We'll do that real fast. So in your kit, you will have a sample of this one. This they're called the Flower Accents, are currently unavailable. They were so popular that they are back ordered for a little bit. And instead of ordering them, you can sign up to get an email to let you know when they're back in stock. But I gave you a sample of it. And then I gave you another type of gold-based embellishment. Okay, this one's having just two, a large one and a small one. And I'll use these ones on these cards until I run out. And then I'll jump over to the embellishment that was sent. Okay. I knew I was missing something on that one. We found it though. All right, You Inspire Me. Let's do a practice run on this one on our Post-it notes. I have a dog, and that's why one of the reasons why I always do practice, because you never know if my clear stamps are going to have dog fur on them. There we go. Oh, looks pretty good. Make sure I get that ink all the way. Okay, and then you press lightly so it doesn't run. You Inspire Me. Nice. Okay, close up the ink. That's all we're stamping on this one. And let's assemble. Okay. We're going to start with our DSP to make a pretty banner right here, or yeah, you can call it a banner, I guess. Liquid glue on the back. Flip it. And I'm going about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom here. If you have a grid sheet, you can use that to help you line it up. Or if you're like me, you can just kind of eyeball it. And if it's crooked, I don't care, but we'll give you a general idea. There we go. Looks pretty good. And then we're going to grab this beautiful piece of gold foil that we've embossed with our joined together embossing folder. And isn't that so pretty? I'm just loving the way that turned out. Picks up so much of that texture, and it's just a nice simple. This is how you usually use gold. Very sparingly. So we'll put some liquid glue on the back of that, put it on the bottom, leave about 1/4 of an inch on the DSP in the bottom there. We wanted to have something to ground our bases onto. Okay, now let's grab our dimensionals. Again, I wish I had those larger ones. Hold on. No, I just don't know where they are. I'll find them as soon as we say stop, I assure you. Oh, so small it is. Forgive me again. Let's pick which ones we want though. So we have different color combos depending on what we like. I think we're gonna go with this color combo here, and I think I like it in that order, just because that one doesn't have the same framing as the others. And I'm gonna be slightly stingy and only do 3 of these, but put as many dimensionals as you want on your vases. Flip and flip. if you don't have the dies but have the DSP, you could totally just fussy cut these out. And then you can even use that one that you fussy cut out as a guide to cut out more from cardstock. So it's a great thing that they have it in the DSP. So if you don't have it, it's an easy enough shape to fussy cut. It's just definitely easier not to. Okay, we're going on the gold. So make sure we still see that one. And I'm going about 1/2 inch from the side. I do my outsides first. Again, on this side here, about the same spacing, and then my center one last. And that one's last just because then I can look at the space in between both of them. Let me stand for this one. There we go. And like that. Looking good, looking good. Lastly, let's get that You Inspire Me on here. And for this one, I only put one giant dimensional in the center. I'm going to take two smalls. 2 minis, because it's going to overlap some of those vases and we don't want it to be at a different level and lopsided. So we're just going to go right about there and press down. Nice. And let's embellish. Okay, this one's a 5 embellish. So we're going to take 2 of the big ones, one on the far side here, and do a small one right above it. Then we're going to take the large one on the top over here next to this vase. All right, using my paper snips to help me grab. And we'll just make a cluster of 3 over here and just having it going at different triangle shapes there. Let's get this close. You can see this beauty. So nice, so nice. And you guys see I spaced this one a little bit wider. I would probably put these closer in like I did with this one to allow more embellishment space. So be mindful of that. On to the next card. Card number 3 is the Petal Pink card base. Let's grab that one. This one has so much detail. It's so pretty. Check out all of that. Extra dies we did, some fun background stamping. Let's grab this one. All right. Oh, and the pieces are falling out. So I went ahead and I sent you all a basic white piece of the cup. But if you'd rather use the DSP for that instead and not stamp it, totally your option. I'm going to show you how to stamp it on here to let you know, but you have choices. All right, let's grab our Misty Moonlight ink and our cute little cup here. And let's grab the cup itself. Okay, it's definitely easier to stamp first than die cut. I'm going to say that definitely the easier way to do it. However, since this is clear, we can go ahead and ink it up and stamp it directly over it by looking through it. Oh, let's see, how do we do? Oh, that turned out nice. So nice. Okay, this one also has a slit. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer so I can show you how I do that. I figured if you saw it once, you would get it. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right on the track, right here. I'm going to grab my cutter blade and I'm going to come down and just make the tiniest little slit. This one's easier because it's a little bit wider than the vase, but that's it. And then I have a little spot to slide our flower into. All right, grab our card base out. We're going to do some stamping directly onto it. We're going to use our Petal Pink and our Misty Moonlight. I suggest doing this inking for Sorry, we'll get that back in view. For our saying first, you have a placement where you want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and do a practice on a Post-it. Just to make sure this one's good. I usually do not like stamping on card bases because if you mess up, it's a whole card base, or you have to figure out like a paper band-aid. But we're going to be extra careful with this. Usually I stamp on like pieces that I add to the card base. All right, far right, we're going to not the top, not the middle, above the middle for the thanks for helping through this difficult time. Oh, and it turned out great. Okay, Misty Moonlight goes away, and we're grabbing our Petal Pink. Then we're gonna grab our little cluster here. Let me see if we can show you it. It's just a small little bit, but we make it look like it's together when we stamp it. So I'm going to have this one coming right here, and then it's going to keep on going as I stamp it close enough to look like it's all but one piece. I have this one overlap a little bit right here, and it just keeps on growing. We don't need too much in the middle because that's going to be covered up. So then I'm going to come over to this side here and just do right across from where this one was to continue some of the stamping here. And there we go. Some nice simple background stamping. This one you'll need to cut out 2 pieces of your DSP. And for my tip for this one is that you want to make sure you cut your DSP for this guy first. Well, let's see. Maybe that was my tip for my other one. Remember how we had to die cut the vase? I use that leftover piece because this is a 6x6 is how it gets sent in the kit. So I use that leftover piece to create, here we go, this guy here. Little tip so you don't waste paper. All right, now let's start attaching our DSP first. Flip it over, pick a side. We're going to do liquid glue on the back. Again, for all these measurements, you can get them when you order the PDF from me by emailing me, and I can send that directly to your inbox. It's one of the perks of being a club member is that you get that PDF and the video, so that way you can make these cards with ease and confidence. I like learning multiple ways, so visual and audio is the way for me, so I love providing that for my friends. All right, that one's on. Let's grab our strip of gold, liquid glue on the back, and we're going to come just below some of that pretty stamping we did. So we're going to come right about there, so it kind of just gets covered just a little bit. And it's not completely to the bottom. I'm going to say, what is that? 1.5 inches from the bottom. About. Okay. Then let's go ahead and attach these Lost Lagoon. These were die cut out. These ones I should have made into a sticker, but because I didn't, I'm just going to do little drops of the liquid glue on it and place it where we want it to go. Okay. There we go. This one's going to have coming down from the gold and press down. Let it hold or put a clear block over it. And then if you want to use a reference, put your cup here so you know the spacing. But I want just a little bit of that Lost Lagoon popping out on this side too, overlapping some of that gold. Nice. Next, let's embellish on our cup with this nice gold crack. Again, just drops of liquid glue. It doesn't need to be all over to make an oozy-goozy mess. Just drops. We'll flip it and attach it. And the first time I did this, I had to do some trimming because I didn't angle it just right. So it depends on how you do that. So that one's coming off right there. So I'll just flip it over to the back side. And with my paper snips, just remove that little piece. There we go. Grab our flower, which this one was a die cut from the DSP. Super easy. We do have that flower though, so if you wanted to stamp it yourself in a different color, you totally could. We slid it into that cup where we made that slit. Now we grab our dimensionals and secure where that flower is with a dimensional so it doesn't fall out later on. Put a couple of these guys on. There we go. All right, flip it and stick it. And go right about there. Oh, that looks good. Super cute. Now we just need to embellish. I still have some of these flower accents left, so we're gonna use them because it matches our suite. And we're gonna grab our large one. Oop, as it goes flying. I won't go search for that one right now. I'll search for it later. Okay, and we're gonna put it on the bottom over here underneath our gold, and then we're gonna do a large and a small on our DSP by our flower. A large one going one direction and right above. Nice. Looking good. Check that out. So pretty. Like, this one has so much detail. Fairly simple. It wasn't like that crazy fun fold, but that detail on this one is what makes it just amazing. Amazing, amazing. All right, last one. You guys ready? Also pretty simple, but just nice. Like, look how pretty this one is. We really are using the DSP to feature this card, and it makes it easy. All right, card base, our cloud cover, which is one of our new in colors. And then I have all of my pieces inside ready for me to go. And your kits will look very similar to that. Let me grab my foam mat in and our Misty Moonlight to stamp our thanks. This die is actually from the Perennial Postage dies, which is just a fun square with like a really neat scallop. Looks like a postage stamp. Okay, that should be good. And press. Nice. Okay, that's all of our stamping for this one. You could heat emboss or your cups, or you can also just do the DSP version. I went ahead and did a heat emboss for this one to show you the difference. Get closer so you can see. There we go. And then I did the DSP for that one. But it's up to you. You can change up the color. Let's pretend like put the Lost Lagoon on it. You see the difference it looked like. You can even put the Old Olive on it and see which one you like the best. I do think the Misty Moonlight's good. And I did not make a slit for this one. So this one's going to just go right behind it. If you want to like that method, totally do that. But we're just going to use some Stampin' Still on the back. And we're going to set this right there. I do like to have, oh, there we go. I want the leaves to kind of hang over. There we go. Okay, dimensionals on the back of this guy. We'll get all the dimensionals right now. So on our flower, the cup, our postage, perennial postage, our greeting. The fun thing about this one is that we have some more of that ribbon. So I'm saying that so I make sure I do not forget to do that step. So I'm going to grab these in real quick before I put dimensionals on the back. And let's grab that beautiful cloud cover ribbon. I usually just eyeball it. What I usually do will go about 1 inch over on each side and cut. Okay, and this looks like it's upside down to me, so I'm going to just flip this over. And when I flip it to the back, look at that beautiful side of that DSP. Oh my goodness. It's almost sad to see it go, right? Then I'm going to put on both sides a little bit of that Stampin' Still Plus. Not all the way up and down because we're going to use dimensionals on the back of this, but just enough to grab where I'm going to tuck that ribbon into. I'm going to go about 3/4 from the bottom and just tuck it over. You hear my finger sticking to the back, so I know I'm at the right spot. Dimensionals on the back of this now. One on each corner in the center. All right. And let's grab our card base, our bone folder, and our piece of DSP. We'll grab, oh, see, this guy comes out too. There we go. Put that so there's borders on all 4 sides. Looks pretty good. Remove the backing for dimensionals. And place that in the center. There you go. Looking good. All right, now we need to add our cute little cup with the flower. I like this one because it gives that option of where you're like, well, I wasn't very good at making those slits in the pots. So you could still have a cute little floral image without having the slits. And I came a little bit over that ribbon and to the left more than the right, because I want to leave some space for our greeting here. And I want to slide his little corner underneath it. Make sure I'm not covering up the words, but I want to make sure that I have some borders on here. Looks good. All right, we just need to embellish this one with my final 3. Oh my goodness, we had enough. Even with the one that flew away. Watch, make sure I don't let any fly away this time. Okay, large one first. Grab a tiny guy and put him at an angle just a little bit above. And one more on the bottom. Oh my goodness, so cute, so cute. Let's get this close up so you can see. Nice. Don't you love that? It's a specialty designer series paper because it has that fold accent with it. All right, let's get all these cards back in. I'd love to hear which one was your favorite, which one you're gonna give it a try. We have our petal pink one, our 3 vases, super pretty, and that amazing fun fold that slides out for our secret message we can have and send to a friend. I hope you guys have learned something new and have enjoyed this class. Again, let me know if you want to join my next card class. We are using the Notes and Totes, and they are super summer fun. So stay tuned for emails from me, and let me know if you want to join my next card class club for the month of July. Extra little plug, I also have a Christmas in July card class. So look for signups below for those items as well. Have a great day, everyone. Happy stamping. Goodbye.